interviewing Dame Noeline Taurua on how she selects her teams. And speaking of the Silver Ferns, today we're talking about how you select your teams, but I want to start with the selection process and how you select a squad. So we're going to work from a squad down to your starting seven. So when you're picking your squad, what are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of aspects, I suppose. I love people who stand out, really, who are really confident in themselves. I always look for what people can do instead of what they can't do, and that's, once again, been a philosophy or a constant or consistent message that I've put out there. Everyone's going to make a mistake, but it's what you do next that's going to make a difference to the elements. So when I am looking at people, really people who are strong in themselves, they're really confident with how they play the game, and just got that air and that swag. I love that when I do see that in people.
Are there any deal breakers for you that you see you're like, oh, not quite?
It's always really hard because sometimes I think, sometimes people are trying really hard. Everyone wants to be a silver fern, and that's really the expectation when you are playing at top level netball, and, that's the next step is to represent your country. And sometimes that mode you try really hard and it actually swings the wrong way. So it's just about them relaxing and once again working on the things that they do well. But it's a grind, I must say, and it's not only about 1 week, it's what happens every week and the consistency in regards to performance. So I really feel for players, especially if they know that they've done their best, and I suppose you're in the whim or the hands of the selectors, and, for that reason, I think, with players, that's all they have to do is just do their best and try and grow and learn and then come back the next year.
Speaking of the selectors, how much say do you get? Do they come to you and say, we think this, and you have, I guess, the final say, or how does that work with selections?
Yeah, look, at the end, I've got the final say, and I feel that that's part of my job anyway, and that I have to take full responsibility for that in regards to selections or our own overall performance. But, we've got some really great selectors who have been around the track for a very long time. They pose different questions, I suppose, and I must be able to answer that in my head. And if I can't, then maybe I'm not heading down the right way. So selectors just ask those questions and also give you other things to think about. And, at the end, I'll take full responsibility for final selections, but you've got to have a group of people, so that's going to guide you as well.
For the Netball World Cup team, what were the key aspects that you're looking for your squad? We knew that fitness was a big part of that.
Yeah, look, it seemed a very long time ago now, and, even though we were building, it was 8 or 9 months to actually get ourselves into selection stage. So that was staged as the season went on, and pretty much I needed to get as many people out and to play international netball. So I used the quad series and also the Constellation Cup. I think we had over something like 25 or 26 players out on court. So they learnt the rough way, and were given the opportunity. And out of that, I wanted to see those ones who were able to stand up against some, international stars. But not only that, their consistency from day to day was really important as well within the Silver Fern environment. So, coming to Constellation Cup and then Quad Series again, 3 or 4 months later, I was looking for the growth of individuals and what did they learn and what have they done to improve their game. And ANZ came in there and, so it was staged as we went along. But really at the end, I was looking for the best players. Irrelevant of age, of height or anything like that, the best players in their position. And because it was a long grind or they were under immense, I suppose, pressure to be able to perform, I think the cream rise to the top at the end.
What advice do you have for players who would be going along to their netball selection, say?
Yeah, look, it's really difficult, and I remember myself as a player as well. So, it's really hard to know, once again, you're being selected or judged by others. But I think that's the name of the game and the landscape that you're in. I think one of the things is being really confident. Well, one, to do the work. You can't hide from anything. If you haven't done the work, then you're going to be found out, basically. So that's probably your bread and butter. Make sure you can do your job, whatever that is. And then when you do get the opportunity to get out on court, just go. I think there's never any worry about what you can't do. It's about what you can do, and to back yourself and have the confidence. Like everything in life, sometimes it swings your way and it doesn't sometimes as well. But it's probably that tenaciousness and that tenacity that if you don't get in, that you're going to do the best you can for the next round and when the opportunity presents again.
And your advice for coaches when they're selecting their squad?
I think always to remain open. I think sometimes we do have biasness, and I'm in that same boat. You've got to be clear about why you're selecting a certain person, what team or what style of play that you want to create out on court. Whether you're using objective measures to help you in that respect in regards to selection, so it's fair, but really clear about why you're picking a person. And, at the end of the day, you are responsible for on-court performance. And if you don't pick a certain person because you like that person best, or don't, then it's going to come back and bite you, basically. So, you've got to be really clear about your selection process and your reasons and the purpose as to why.
Awesome. So you've got your squad. Now, how do you narrow it down to a team of 12?
Yeah, I mean, once again, we were really lucky because at the end, the final 12 actually selected themselves. So, we were looking at stats every week. And what I always find that when they are confident and their numbers are really high, then they shine out. So we were probably quite lucky. There were some areas that we needed slide players because there were question marks and to fill the gap. So basically you have a spine, and out of the spine you have one person in each area. You pick for the best players, and then if there's any gaps, you're looking for people who can slide. So say, for example, Shannon Saunders for us could play wing attack, and she could also play centre. And so she was on court for both areas. So, that worked for us. And also, I think Laura Langman also could play a wing defence and a centre position. So out of the Netball World Cup, actually, a lot of our players were really versatile. And, that is always helpful when you're in a tournament situation where you can move the pieces around or move people around. And it became really, I suppose, advantageous for us to have people that were very adaptable.
I want to know from you what you think makes a good team player, even if you're not part of the starting seven, but you're in the 12. What makes a good team player? Because I know the All Blacks go by the philosophy. In a nicer way, they have a no idiot policy, or a good person makes a good player. So what to you makes a good team player?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm anything different. First of all, you're looking for the people in your 12 who deserve to be there and have done everything possible. I think also people who are good people and are willing to give to others. When I talk about give, it could be in different ways. Not everyone can communicate or, are out there, but they may give in different ways, whether just carrying bags or being really helpful, like they will contribute and give to the greater good of the team and the collective. So always looking for those people, and once again they shine out. And if you create the environment that they can be themselves, then you see what people are like and their character. I was really proud about the 12 that we did select, and probably there were some others that unfortunately didn't get through. But at the end of the day, they're actually really good people, and they were there with purpose and intent, and we were willing to give whatever they had for each other, and that's always a good starting point for a team.
We still have Dave, Noeline, Taurua with us. Thank you to Special K for this segment. Okay, Noels, let's talk starting 7. You've got your team of 12. How do you select who gets on court? Let's go position by position. Your goal shooter, what are you looking for?
Yeah, I think overall there's certain scenarios that, depending where you are in a tournament or a game, and overall there's either whether you select people because of strategy, and what I mean by that is you might have to manage somebody because they're overloaded in their numbers or they're injured, so they may start first, because usually they have a warm-up and then you've got to go straight into game, and it's easier for players to be able to do that. But also conversely, there's also the issue around having the best starting 7. So if I was looking at the best starting 7 in a goal shoot, pretty much at shooter that I'm looking for 40 plus shots going up over the game, roughly 90% shooting accuracy, or not roughly, it is actually 90% shooting accuracy, their availability to the ball, and just that look, when they get the ball, they turn and they shoot. And that's really what I'm looking for in a goal shoot.
And then how do you work that in with the goal attack? Because obviously they need to have a good connection.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what it's all about. It is the connection and the link. So when I link in a goal attack, what I'm really looking for is, once again, that shooting percentage. So they can shoot roughly 85% up. 6 shots up per quarter is probably a given that I'm looking for. They have to be very complementary to the goal shoot. So if you've got a goal shooter that shoots under the post, then you probably need a goal attack that can have a wide-ranging shot, so that you complement each other. But if they don't, I mean, that's, you're not going to die over it, and you just got to find a way to work the unit. I always call my goal attack the playmaker. So they usually link the inside circle to the outside circle in regards to the feeders. And then defense is another thing, I mean, I can always remember as a shooter myself, and the coach was always yelling at me to get on defense. So now I could do it to everybody else or these other goal attacks, but defense is when they miss a shot or something happens, that they get straight on and they've got the engine or capability to run that whole third.
And everyone does get excited when a shooter does get an intercept or a turnover on defense. For our young shooters out there, how many shots should they be putting up a day to hit that 90%?
Oh, look, Irene was probably the girl, really, if I'm being honest. Really articulate, really, her training was amazing. Definitely 200 shots up a day, but, she used to break it down. She had her goal on her deck, and, she broke it down during the day of doing 30 or 40 in sections. So usually the minimum is 200 shots per day. You've got to get under the post. And not only just shooting stationary, you've got to have moving as well, because if you think about your job, you're never just stationary shooting most of the time. So that's the key.
Awesome. Okay, let's move to our middies now. Wing attack, what are you looking for?
Yeah, wing attack is usually, once again, the main feeders to the circle. I always think the wing attack is the first and second phase of the centre pass. That's their role, so they call it. They're like the leading actress on that line, but also need to communicate with the goal attack if they change roles there. But first and second phase centre pass is their role, and feed into the circle. So they're the ones that get the ball the most. So you put the ball into the shooter in good shooting position, feed others in and around the circle. I think they also feed in, they can reset, and then they can go again.
Right, the centre, the middle link between the team.
Once again, they work really closely with the wing attack. I always think the wing attack for me is about controlling the momentum. So when the game is not a hectic, but when it's on fast pace, they have the ability to enter into the circle really slowly, slow the momentum down, or they can go in really fast to quicken the speed. Obviously, 100%, poor centres is the expectation, and then they usually link, whether it's the link in the attack or link in the defence, but start the first either point of attack or point of defence, but very much control the momentum and the speed during the
hustlers, the wing defences, what are you looking for?
Yeah, they're hustlers, all right. Oh, God, there's so many great wing defences around. They're amazing. Really selfless. Wing defences, for me, do the opposite of the wing attack. So they can the first and second phase on the centre pass once again. So they make the calls. It's really difficult for them because usually they're the first line. So they've got to be quite intuitive, but also really clear about what the strategy is and what they're going to set up. Pretty much deny, contest, and pressure is a continuous action that they need to do and grind away. There's many areas, I suppose, that the wing defences can take the line. And I love wing defences when they hunt the ball really high, because they still have a backup if they miss the hunt. So always got to have a good wing defence and a centre who are going to set up what they say the glory hunts for the goal defence and goal keeps at the back.
Speaking of the defensive end, right, your goal defences who may get some of the glory, some of the intercepts, but what makes a good goal defence?
Yeah, I mean, good goal defences, once again, are the opposite to goal attacks. So they link pretty much the inside to the outside of the circle. I'm really fond, if I'm going to be honest, of having good attacks and good goal defences and people who are really strong in those positions. Robin Broughton always said that if you have those two positions and they're doing their job because of they linking into the circles, then you've pretty much won the game. So, I've taken that piece of advice from her and make sure that I can have those positions nailed. But pretty much, once again, for all the defence, contest, deny, compete, pressure. And their link into the circle with the goalkeeper is really important. How they, I suppose, work each other and back each other up, so that both pieces know that they can go out and hunt and someone else has got their back.
Right, that goalkeeper, the last line of defence.
Yeah, the rock in the back, and I think over the years it's been interesting looking at different body types. When I look at Jane, who's one of the best goalkeepers, she's very slight, but very, very fast, deceptive. Pretty much the rock at the back and the last line of defence. Pretty much a lot of times it's one-on-one. So I would be thinking about when the ball keeps coming and coming and coming, so really strong in the head department. And when I think of, Janelle Fowler-Reid and sometimes the ball going over and over, the tenacity to be able to keep competing and keep grinding on their shooter, it has to be massive. Rebounds is big. You've got to have rebounds coming. Anything that comes out of that post, you must be able to get it. But no difference to all the defence. What I like is, once again, that either contest and or pressure, your ability to work with your goal defence or within the unit and to be adaptable to what's required at the time. I think I didn't mention actually from all our wing defences, once again, old Robbie's sort of saying that the defences are attackers and all the attackers are the defenders as well. So everyone's got to do the work to help each other out. And then the bench are the dream team. The bench are the dream team, I always find. When things are going on really well in the team, you can usually see it through the bench. So selfless. Obviously, they want to be on, but they do anything to help the starting seven. And they're in there all the time, and they're so connected to every pass. It's actually blooming exhausting, I must say. Even though you're not physically there, your energy that you use during that time is amazing. So, out of it all, the bench are the stars. And when they keep giving like that, it's awesome for a team.
I was going to say, how do you deal with players who may not start? And then also how, especially with the Netball World Cup, how do you decide when you're sitting there to make those changes?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. One thing that I've learned as well is not waiting. And if a change needs to happen, I'll make the change. But I go by my gut, if I'm going to be honest. I pretty much know through players what they can and can't do. That's why I really rely on them. Just do what you can do, because then I can usually see when they're starting to fault or something's happening that they go into different behaviours. Sometimes with people, that they can pull themselves out, but you only have a limited time, and so you've got to make those calls. But definitely for me, it's a gut, but also understanding and knowing the people that you're working with will also help. I think when players are on the sideline or don't get that starting, for me, they've got to be ready. And probably over the last maybe year, we've been able to work our bench. I think that could be starting to be a new way maybe of working the bench, making sure that we can keep the level of intensity at the highest, but also being quite strategic when changes are made. So having real purpose, and that when a change is made, that they come in with massive impact and we kick. So I think we're getting into that space when we can start producing that performance out on court, and that's really exciting with the current players that we have within the mix.
How do you get the best out of your players? I know when I played, you had coaches who you wanted to play for. You weren't playing out of fear or anything like that. You just knew that they had this belief, I guess, in you, and it sort of brought the best out of you as a player. So how do you do that as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, for me to select players, pretty much I've got to back myself. And I ask the players always to back themselves and be really confident in what they can produce out on court, but who they are, and their identity, and not waver. I think when you're working in that space, then you're starting to build maybe relationships that go at a more deeper level and meaningful. I think at the end, we're all in the same boat. We all want to do good. We all are there for the same purpose, and we all have each other's back. And I think that environment that we're creating within the Silver Ferns, or the teams that I've been involved with, pretty much that's the foundation of the team and the culture within. So at the end, I only want what's best for people. I never want to put them in where they're found out, and if they are found out, that's actually my downfall. I haven't prepped them, or I haven't set it up right, or I haven't given them the best possible chance to be able to perform out there. So if anything, I take that personally, and I want to put anybody into a place where they're going to feel safe about themselves, if I'm going to be honest. So at the end, it's always about the human element. And probably as well, the messaging around gratitude. We're really lucky that we're in a team country, and a lot of people pay to see us, and for it's probably the closest thing for me to be. So, you know, people pay, they want to see something out there that's really cool, that at the end, whether you win or lose at best, and you fought really hard. And I think that's what it's all about. And to have people who want to contribute towards that philosophy, I think we have players definitely in that mode.
Awesome. Well, you have given us some absolute gems today. I love the gems from Robin Broughton as well. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, being part of NetFit. We're so grateful to have you, and we will be seeing more of you, which is going to be fantastic. But thank you. I appreciate your time.